heard, I'm Speranța Rădulescu, and I'm working in the museum as US, perhaps not so different, but anyway. They say it's the European Museum of the year 1960. And I am dealing with the traditional music of the Romanian peasants. And perhaps it's not obvious for all of you, but Romania is a rather large state in Europe. Here, situated here, above the Balkan region, surrounded by ex-Soviet Union, Bulgaria, Ukraine, Hungary, and ex-Yugoslavia. And this region is dwelt by Romanians, mostly by Romanians, people of Latin origin and language. And the Romanians used to be shepherds and agriculturers. Of course, nowadays the situation changed a lot, but anyway, most of the Romanians still remain a bit peasants. So they have a very beautiful music. And something about the political situation of Romania, because it's important for what I intend to say next. Romania fall under the influence of the Soviet Union after the Second War, and it was obliged to have a communist regime, even if the people didn't like this regime at all, but it was imposed upon us, and it changed the life of all the Romanians, and especially the cultural life. And in '89, as you must know perhaps, in all East Europe, a lot of changes took place, and the people get rid of the old regimes. And nowadays, Romania is trying to become again a really democratic state. And of course, the economic situation is very bad, but there are hopes that the country will be better. Returning to the music now. After the events in '89, I began to establish in Romania a series of traditional peasant music. I began to make such records for the Occidental countries some years before. But this time I tried to do the same thing in my own country after communist regime disappeared, let's say. And I was obliged to reflect upon the connections between the music and the general social situation of the country in general, and in special the connection between music and the political situation. And that would be my main idea I intend to express here in the last part of my speech. Because for us it's very torturing to think about these things. We changed the regime and now we discover that we are still marked. There are things happening. There are some connection between the real traditional music and its official version imposed by the regime, you know. And we were in a good situation to notice all this connection. But anyway, before speaking about this connection between music and politics, I want to present you in some words our traditional peasant music. And I'll do that especially through the meaning of some recordings I put on these CDs and cassettes you can see on the table. Yes. First of all, I want you to listen to some lyrical song collected many years, 6 years ago. can see the rhythm is free, and this lyric song resembles with the long song of all Middle East. You can also notice the special vocal technique with some glottal attacks. It's difficult to hear them because it's a recording dated from 60 years, but anyway. Yes. The Romanian music is very stratified, very diversified upon the time and the space. I mean, there are many regional styles and many historical styles. This piece belonged to an old style, and I'll let you listen to another old lyric song from another region of the country, collected also 60 years ago. Do you like this music? Do you enjoy it? It's very different from yours. And perhaps you are not familiar with it. Yes, it is possible. I think there are many connections with all music in the Mediterranean basin and Middle East, and one can make a lot of connections. Anyway, it's a music different than yours. I think it's beautiful, but it is at the same time very diverse, and in different regions we have different musical styles. And now we will listen to another piece, a lyrical song from another region. The piece was collected only 3-4 years ago. It was collected during the wedding party in the Queen. The rhythm is not so free this time. Two singers are singing in competition. A very friendly one. There are men, you can notice, I don't know if you realize that both of them are men. It's a very special kind of bird. Sorry for the cut. As you can see, this music is very diverse, and it is connected with the circumstances of its production. For instance, the pieces you will listen to were all occasional genres. I mean, music fitted for all circumstances of the everyday life, or all kind of feasts. But there are also ritual songs connected with marriage, burials, the beginning of agricultural labor, and so on. And now I'll make you listen to another very different kind of music from Romania, played by a brass band. It's a dance music. Musicians who played this piece of music, this dance melody, were professional musicians of the countryside, of the peasants. So in Romania there is music played or sung by peasants for themselves, and a music for the feasts made by professional musicians hired for this purpose by the peasants. And most of the professionals are gypsy musicians. They practice an accompaniment, a harmonic accompaniment, who project all the music into European sphere of influence, if you want, because the accompaniment is tonal, in a West European tonality. And now a last musical example from another region of the country, so very different from the other ones, played also by gypsy musicians for a wedding party. It is played by on violin with a special technique. I don't know if you can. Instead of using a bow, the musician has horse. I don't know the English word for that. Doesn't matter. As I told you, there's a music played and sung by the peasants themselves, and another one ordered by peasants to their professional musicians. And in the same manner, there are instruments connected especially with the peasant's life, and other connected with the professional musicians. Among the instruments used by the peasants are all kind of flutes. There are, it seems, 15 types, different types, but in my opinion there are much more than that. And you can see some kinds of flutes here to this musician. Arată mai multe fluiere. Longer, shorter, with 5 or with 6 holes. Without any holes, you can play. Poți să cânti puțin pe unul dintre ele. Ceva, ce stai și cânta? Nothing special about this flute. What makes an instrument particular for a country or another is the music played on it, its specialty. Thank you. me? And among the instruments used by the professional musician, there are some imported from other neighboring countries, Western or Oriental countries, like the cymbalum, violin, viola. You can see here a viola used for the accompaniment. You know, when the people doesn't matter. When one people takes an instrument for another one, or for another musical culture, which is more important, the people makes also some accommodation in order to make the instrument convenient with their music. And the Romanian peasants, and not only Romanian, all peasants living in Carpathian area, used to play on only 3 strings of this instrument, and they cut the bridge flat. They put the strings one after the other, and in this manner they can play chords. So this instrument was made by Mr. Yederan, who is also a constructor of musical instruments. And as you can see, it's larger than the usual violas. It's larger, and with this bridge cut short, that's 3 strings. Și acum câte câteva I hope you have now some ideas about how it looks, the Romanian music. But I want to return to my main topic, my obsession, I can say, the connection between the traditional music and its official version imposed by the state. Because in our country, as I told you, we had a communist regime for 50 years, and this regime doesn't like so much the real traditional music. It's thought that this music is too vulgar and non-conformistic, and this regime, through his servants, offered another version for this music, which is theoretically more beautiful, an improved traditional music. I mean, can you hear me? Yes. Yeah? Okay. An improved music connected with the ideology of the party. You know, communist country is always a country with a unique ideology. So the aesthetic must be one, and the music must be of a kind, and conform with some imposed principles. So they transformed the real traditional music into another one called folkloric music. You know, this distinction I make between traditional music and folkloric music is made also by Occidental European ethnomusicologists. They think the one is the genuine traditional culture, and the other one, it's the music for the media. And you must know that because this folkloric version of music is not only in Eastern countries, it exists also in other kinds of countries. I don't know if you understand what I'm speaking about, but you must understand because you are Korean and you are brothers from North Korea must practice the same type of music. I mean, they must have an official culture, and you must know how it looks. I can give you some examples. For if a lyrical song, a Romanian lyrical song, is freely played, the official culture will transform it into a song, regular song with a precise rhythm. If there are some improvisation into a musical piece, the official culture would cut all the improvisation. All must be predictable in this kind of music. All must be predictable. All must be beautiful from certain standards. Never harsh, never peasant, which is something ugly. No, always beautiful. Proving that the people is proud and elevated people and educated people. You understand? Under the principle of transformation of music into its official version, there is always some ideas or complexes, inferiority complexes. For instance, in Eastern country, there was the obsession, all are the same, as in consequence, the music must be one, all are the same. We are proud people. They were all communist countries are nationalistic ones, so we don't admit foreigner influences. So the music must be pure or purified from every foreigner influence, and were submitted to a conductor, because all the countries submitted to a conductor. I simplify a bit the things, but you must think about that. There is a connection between the ideology and the kind of music practiced by a state. And let me think. No asperities. All must be kind and sweet. Nothing harsh, it's too ugly. You understand? And all must be optimistic, because the people is very proud and very happy with its life. So the music must be optimistic. Every lyric song played in a free manner, rhythmic manner, like those of the beginning, must be presented in a very optimistic manner with a measured rhythm, precise rhythm. You understand what I mean? Or the Romanian public listened a lot of time, for 50 years, to this kind of official music, especially the people living in towns, and became accustomed with this kind of official music, and began to make a confusion between this official music and the real traditional one. It must seem stupid, but it's like that. And when I started my series of traditional recordings, I noticed that the public, the urban public was very shocked by the genuine version, which is always unpredictable, harsh, improvised in good measure, and without any conductor, and very different. And now in my country I have this problem to create a public able to understand the difference and to appreciate the real, genuine, traditional culture. Of course, I'm not speaking about the peasants, because with the peasants, the situation is different, but always a bit tragic. As in all communist regime country, the people think there is an official culture, there is my culture at my home. I'll practice both of them without, it's okay, I'll find a way. It's a kind of schizophrenia, you understand? So the peasants think our music is ours, we'll play and sing it, but it's not fitted for the festivals and for the medias and so on. So they begin to believe that their music is not so beautiful. The real good music is the music practiced by the media, the official music, I mean. You understand? So one of the problems of the people in the communist parties is to realize then that in life, as in music, there are many alternatives, cultural alternatives. And you must understand that, you must understand every alternative, to choose its own fitted cultural alternative, to accept the other ones, not to be exclusivistic, and of course if the people are beautiful, their music, the music they will choose will be beautiful. That's all I wanted to say you. Thank you. If you want to look at this, I left the records and the cassettes made here on the table, and if you want to look at them, you can do it. Thank you.
감사합니다. 다음은 인도네시아의 음악 소개가 있겠습니다. 인터뷰하시고 지금 오셔가지고요. 준비하시는데 조금 시간이 걸릴 것 같습니다. 잠시만 기다려 주시기 바랍니다.